some slight deviations to the PB&J. Like one of my friends, their mom would butter the bread, then put peanut butter and jelly on. And you might think that's disgusting. It's actually very good. There was a real PB and honey run in the 80s and the 90s. That was your jam, was the PB
We had
and
a lot
honey?
of PB and honey in our house.
Did you ever throw some bananas in there?
No.
Oh,
no.
God. I took it a step too far, didn't I?
Yep, a little bit.
2 ingredients.
Like,
okay.
I like bananas, just not in things. Like,
Interesting. So, like
blend it up as a smoothie. Love it.
Got it.
As a flavor.
Have you ever you're just like at hey, we got some bananas here if you'd like to have one.
Yeah, no, I'd pass.
You wouldn't just peel it and just eat a banana.
No,
you need it in a smoothie.
Lots of other fruits I love way more. So it's like, I know they're good for you, but unless it's blended up into a smoothie or even like banana ice cream with like chunks of banana, not my thing.
So you would say no to a banana split. Have you ever had a banana split?
No.
Better than you think.
Yeah, no, like I see now that
Or like go to Disneyland and
I'd
get
be
the
open to
chocolate covered frozen banana. Have you ever had?
I'd eat that. It would have to, again, specific things, but yeah, just not like banana in the pancakes or banana in the waffles.
Banana pancakes are so good.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't. I
What
can't.
is it? Bananas Foster? You would not eat bananas Foster. I can speak confidently that if you and I went to a restaurant and for dessert, sir, we have bananas Foster, speak confidently, Brenden would say no.
There's a lot of cinnamon sugar. I mean, if you put anything in enough
and
cinnamon,
there's a little booze in there, and they light it on
enough
fire.
Cinnamon sugar, I might eat anything. But yeah.
So anyways, the open and honest about this program, we don't feed you a bunch of baloney. We talk about what is on our minds, and we talk about what is in our hearts, and you are struggling, sounds like, with turning 28.
A little bit, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's it kind of hit me yesterday a little bit. It's kind of an unorthodox week for me in a lot of respects.
Got it.
Not quite what I expected as far as like how I would spend this birthday. So it's like, in that respect, it's like, okay, I'm getting old and the late 20s crisis has officially begun.
I understand it. It is real. I will tell you, like, I don't know how much it helps. It gets better. It does. It gets better. There comes a point where you just throw up your hands. You go, screw it. And as long as you keep your health,
solid.
it gets much, much easier. It really does. But either way, happy. Do you doing a party? Are you throwing a party? You throwing a shindig? Are you going to go out to dinner with the fam maybe? Or what? What's? Because I am. Once you get past, I think, age 30, you start going on the zeros and the fives, like 30, and then it's like, all right, we'll do something big at 30, 40. All right, we're gonna do something big for 40,
Sure,
and then it's
sure.
like, I will be turning 45. I was like, nah, I'm not. We'll get around it at 50, and if it works on the weekend, let's throw a party. But like, the days of the big birthday party for your boy are kind of gone. But you're still in a good spot. Birthday parties in my 20s. Well, we were going out. It was like, well, your birthday's on Tuesday. Don't care. We're going out.
No, I said, fortunately, pushing it back a day, that's the beauty of it being on a Thursday. Going to definitely crush some Red Bull vodkas at Spirit Mountain tomorrow night. So
Okay, so you did this last year, too. You loved the casino. The casino was your birthday spot last year, I believe. Or at least 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I
2
have a
years
vague
ago
memory.
sounds right. I actually do not. Yeah, I think 2 years ago sounds
Okay.
right.
So you're going to be going out to the casino this
Staying
weekend.
the night, doing the whole 9 yards.
So if you were out, I'm going to blow up your spot real quick. If you were out at Spirit Mountain Casino this weekend and you see super producer Brenden, buy him a Red Bull vodka. All right? Buy him a couple.
But yeah, other than that,
I want him walking into work on Monday going like, oh boy. Do I have no money because I lost it all I don't want you to have no money. I'd like you to maybe win a little bit, but if the listeners are out there,
Maybe I'll win a car, Justin. Come back, hey, Justin, I got a car. No,
I don't know if I should ask this or not. What would be, let's just say you go to Spirit Mountain this weekend and you get on a heater, right? You just start.
What would be a life-changing amount of money?
What would be amount of money where you would not be, where I would get a text on Sunday going like, not coming in, bro.
You're putting me in the crosshairs
Yeah, like
of
I
my
said,
boss.
I don't know if I should have asked them.
Okay,
but don't say it. But is there a number in your head where you're like, Monday's not happening, bro? Sorry. I don't know what your life plan is. Mine just changed. And the good folks of the Spirit Mountain
I'll say this.
Council have changed my trajectory of my career. And
yeah,
4:30 a.m. ain't it, bro?
I don't know if Spirit Mountain has winnings to have me, self-destruct my career.
You never know.
But I'll say this, Justin. I asked myself that question when I bought Mega Bucks tickets the last 2 weeks because,
Well, how's Megabucks doing? I haven't heard a good lottery news story in a minute.
It's like 1.4 billion. So yeah, if I got that, if I got that
Way
much
to
money,
go,
you would get a text. If I was worth almost $1 billion.
This is why this algorithm thing is driving me nuts.
Let's see. Let me confirm that.
Because I don't play the lottery, and it's clear that my phone knows that I don't play the lottery because I have gotten no news. Usually once it gets up around 800 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So
they've been quite
Megabucks
high.
is over $1 billion right now.
So Powerball is 1.23 billion, and I believe Mega Millions, if nobody
Mega
won
Millions.
Somebody did win it. So
Somebody won Mega, but we don't have Mega Millions here, right? We only have Powerball here.
No, we do. We have both of them. Powerball, Mega Millions, and then our game in Oregon is Mega Bucks.
I remember when I was a kid, the Wednesday Mega Bucks, wherever the TV studio was in Salem, and they would do the ping pong balls, it was at 7:30. It was right before Inside Edition. It was after hard copy, and as every once in a while you get a lottery ticket as a kid. You're like, I'll give you $1, and you would sit there and we would watch the Mega Bucks come in. Boy, that was a time. That was a time. Now you just check it online, I would assume.
Oh yeah, the Oregon Lottery just has an app where you go on and just scan it. It's quite nice.
The joy of sitting there for the 30 seconds, seeing the ping pong balls, or the lottery balls, I should say, thinking maybe this is it. Maybe I'm going to win a bunch of money. Was a great feeling. Then it went away because.
But yeah, Justin, to answer your question, 1.23 billion would be that number.
Powerball, huh?
Yeah, Powerball's at
1.23
today. You take it $1
billion.
You take it one lump sum. You walk away with $600 million cash and free from there. $600 million.
Free and clear.
Free and clear after taxes.
After taxes. Well, no, but that's the lump sum, right?
So
the lump sum is half, and then you get half, and then you're probably walking away with $400 million.
Yeah, so if it's 1.2, you get about 50% goes to taxes. So the cash value lump sum is about roughly half. If you take it in yearly payments, you get, I think, slightly more. But then,
see, everybody thought when we would do these conversations for years and years and years, they thought I was an idiot because I would be like, give me the payments. Give me the payment over 25 years. I want the full meal deal.
Yeah, I'd take it all at once.
I don't know. To me,
then I could just buy houses, buy yachts, all of it, and just be, it'll hold its value in real estate, Justin. You're good.
Yeah.
Go buy, a nice house.
There's definitely never been anything in real estate that, bubble that's
in
popped.
a nice area. Go give me a house in, Malibu, right?
I've always thought, just give me the 25 years. Now, again, when I talked about this, I was your age.
It's true.
Right? And I'm like, all right, every single year, it's hey, it's lottery day. And because I could make all 364 mistakes per day financially.
And still be good.
And then, hey, we reset. It's a good start over time.
I'll give you that. That's true.
Now, I do understand the whole, well, just give it to me all in one. But, man, over $1 billion, huh?
Yeah, and, I've heard that story again, Justin, how everyone's like, yep, you win the lottery, and you pretty much got to go underground, especially if you win that much money.
That would be real hard for me.
Yeah.
And
like,
I would get, can
it'd
I
be
tell
hard.
you?
Yeah.
I would get scammed. I would totally get scammed. I like to think that I'm not a guy that would get scammed. And, well, I almost got scammed in Mexico. And thankfully, not bad, but like, you know how you get off? Have you ever flown into Puerto Vallarta?
Not Porto, but I imagine it's probably pretty similar
I would
to
assume
Cabo.
where you walk in and there's the timeshare people.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I was warned, Justin, you're going to get off the plane.
Don't stop walking.
Do not stop.
See, Cabo's exactly the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
that I was warned. So this one's on me. And I thought it was going to be people trying to sell like trinkets. Like,
No, full timeshares.
and so, but they're smart because they're like, we're walking, right, with our bags. We have paid for a shuttle to our hotel, through the hotel.
But you have to walk through the alley of.
Boom.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to be people trying to sell me junk. These people look like the people who'd be in the shuttle. And I'm like, they're like, do you need a ride? I'm like, no, we have a ride. Like, no, we have a ride. I feel like I am. Oh, where are you going? And I'm like, well, clearly these are our ride people. We're going to, and I named the hotel. And she's like, wait, and my wife.
Kelly was not happy you stopped and
Not
talked.
happy.
No, and
She was 50.
she's like,
60
60
feet ahead.
Let's go.
She was a good 60 feet ahead, turning back. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, these are the people I was supposed to keep walking by. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's classic, man. That's so relatable.
Well, because I thought this was where the ride was. I'm like, I'm not
Gotta go
stopping for trinkets.
All
They're
the way
like,
to the end. Don't stop, don't look.
if I didn't have my wife there, I'd have totally gotten scammed. I might have been locked into some 20-year timeshare deal. All right. We're going to talk some college football coming up. There is a group of high-power, high-influence people going around throwing around a presentation. It is called College Sports Tomorrow, trying to radically reorganize college football. And you know what? It might be crazy. I kind of like it. We're going to talk about it next. 620 Rip City Radio. By the way, the Joe Diffie tribute album, it rules. It's awesome. It's so good.
Yeah, I listened to a good chunk
it
of
is
it.
so good.
I kind of like the John Party one.
I've been listening to it over like in the afternoon, like getting like because I make dinner at the house. So when I make dinner, I am in charge of the playlist that's going on in the kitchen. And yeah, Joe Diffie. Let's hear a little pickup, man. Let's hear a little John Deere Green. Let's hear a little third rock from the sun, a little bigger than the Beatles. We miss
Needed
you.
more Morgan, though.
We miss you, Joe. We just need more Joe Diffie. We miss you,
Yes.
Joe. All right. Surprise, surprise. We're going to talk some college football on the show. Joel Gunderson's going to be joining us in an hour from now. We'll talk Oregon football as they're making the transition. First spring heading into the Big Ten. A lot of stuff, especially quarterback Dylan Gabriel coming in. And we'll be taking the snaps for the Ducks this year. Dante Moore in a surprise move in an era of you can go anywhere you want and probably get paid an awful lot of money to do it. And a starting caliber 5-star quarterback is in very high demand across the spectrum of college football in an era where you can transfer all you want. Dante Moore made the decision to come back to Eugene. Or not even come back. He never came to Eugene other than on recruiting trips in the first place. But to come back where he originally committed and essentially sit for a year, or I don't know, maybe it's an actual real competition. Can't imagine that's the case. But we'll talk to Joel Gunderson about where Oregon football is, and vibes are high, though. I will say this, heading into the Big Ten. Vibes probably not as high in Corvallis, but
Definitely not.
definitely not.
But we're staying positive on this April 4th.
100% because
I'll worry about that tomorrow.
yeah, maybe leave it till Monday. But there is an article on The Athletic. It is from Andrew Marchant and Stuart Mandel. And according to them, there is a powerful group known as College Sports Tomorrow, or CST, not Central Standard Time, but College Sports Tomorrow. And the people in this organization are some pretty powerful players in the college athletics world. Kent Svenrud, he's the chancellor of Syracuse. He is one of the leaders of College Sports Tomorrow. Gordon Gee from West Virginia, and before that was at Ohio State. He is in the group. A guy named Brian Rollup. He is the number 2 executive at the NFL right now. Philadelphia 76ers owner David Blitzer and lead organizer Len Perna of Turnkey ZRG. Now, what is Turnkey ZRG? Well, that is a search firm that places nearly all of the top conference commissioners, including recently the Big Ten's Tony. These are power players, all right? These guys talk, people listen, and they have created a concept for college football to radically change the sport. Yes, Brenden.
I'm sorry, Justin. We mentioned this in the pre-show meeting, but when you mentioned the search firm, I was able to confirm that was the search firm that recommended Larry Scott to the Pac-12. So, be that as it may.
Noted on the record.
Said Larry Scott, and then move on over to George Cleveland.
You know, the hiring of Larry Scott was not the worst thing in the world. The problem was the retaining of Larry Scott was the worst thing in the world. When it was clear 4-5 years into the Larry Scott tenure, like, this guy ain't it.
But I thought I remembered Turnkey, and
Turnkey ZRG.
Yep, and there was, right away, was an article. You search Turnkey and George Cleveland, and they recommended him. Anyway, back to your point, Justin.
They probably got more wins than losses.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like, all right, you guys gave us Larry Scott, but we decided to stick with Larry Scott. That one, kind of on us. So they are trying to implement a drastic new system that would replace the NCAA and the college football playoff and potentially provide a solution for the current problems and future lawsuits that is going on, plus NIL and transfer portal issues. And they believe All of those things have put college athletics as a whole in peril. It is. So the current College Sports Tomorrow outline would create a system that would have the top 70 programs. Now, this isn't some blog, right? This isn't some columnist or goofy radio host or podcaster that came up. These are smart men, accomplished people in this group. And they've created this system. Do you take the top 70 programs? Now, who are the top 70 programs? Currently, all the members of the Power 5 as they exist right now. Not the new Big Ten and not the new SEC, but the Power 5 as they exist right now, plus Notre Dame and SMU, as SMU will soon be an ACC member. So adding in Notre Dame and adding in SMU to the existing Power 5 and creating a 70-team top-tier league. In that league, there would be 7 10-team divisions, joined by an 8th division. Now, this is where it gets fascinating. There's, in their proposal, an 8th division would be of the 10 teams, the top 10 teams, essentially the best of the rest. Tulane, Liberty, Coastal Carolina in their current years. Who else would be in there? Probably Boise. Boise would be in there. Essentially, the top tier group of 6 teams right now would be in this 8th conference of 10 teams. Then there would be 130 not 130, excuse me. Another 50 or so teams in a Division I AA league underneath this essentially Premier League Championship League. And I know that from Ted Lasso. I don't know anything else about Premier League soccer, but I know that. So it's trying to implement a relegation and promotion system. Now, that's always been talked about, right? College football, they need promotion and they need relegation. And I was like, well, good luck. Good luck telling a mediocre to bad Big Ten school that they have to give up their money now. Good luck with that. Or like, South Carolina, they were a bad SEC team this year, right? Could you imagine like South Carolina, like you're not in the SEC anymore? It's like heck, we're not. We're here forever. Well, what this system would do would essentially put the Power 5 as it is right now. None of those teams can be relegated. You're all in. You're in, and you're in perpetuity. You're in forever. But we're going to create another league of hungry teams and incentivize. It sounds degrading saying smaller schools, but smaller schools, want smaller budgets, and incentivize them. Hey, you invest in football. You put an investment into you are then up playing with the big boys, and you will have a place at the table in the postseason. So then that creates 8 10-team divisions. Scheduling would be done by the league. Playoff would be a 16-team playoff with 8 conference champions and then 8 wildcard teams. Now, these wildcard teams, would they be voted upon? No. It would be based upon record. There's a sticking point there because you would run into some of the problems that you have in college football, which is if one league is vastly better than the other, how do you have a true wild card basing it solely on wins and losses? That's a bit of a sticking point. But we're about solutions and not problems here. So this CST system borrows ideas from leagues like the NFL, the Premier League, and MLS to create a system that they believe would bring in actually more television value. Now, they've met with the ACC board of directors. Wasn't really receptive, shockingly. And the Big Ten and the SEC are not returning their calls. But now they are going public and Clearly, Stuart Mandel and The Athletic got this, got all of the details about this because they're trying to change public perception. The other sticking point would be the SEC's deal with ESPN runs through 2034. So if ever there was a change to be made, it's 10 years down the road. Or ESPN, ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS, all the big players would have to rip up their current deals, which is in the billions of dollars, and have faith that this new radical format would be as profitable as current college football. I believe it would, but that's a pretty big leap of faith because I believe ultimately college football is going to fly too close to the sun and Icarus is going to fall. And this would be, I think, a safety net. Here's the other thing about this that is fascinating because what is the biggest problem in college football right now outside of conference realignment? The biggest problem in college football right now is NIL and transfer portal are directly linked to one another. Players are free agents at all times. And Joseph, there's a transfer window. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Some guy sitting on the bench for Oregon in October could easily be enticed by some booster because boosters have no regulations. They have no rules. Coaches seemingly have some rules, but boosters have no rules. And if there is a booster for UCLA who is like, hey, transfer portal comes around, you come here, I've got a deal for you. It's one thing to have, like in the NFL, could you imagine free agency every single year? Every player is on a 1-year contract, but then have free agency in the middle of the season. That's the problem. You can transfer anytime you want. Why? Because the NCAA can't enforce transfer rules now. They put laws on the books that made NIL the law of the land. Once that became the law, you then, based on antitrust laws, saying laws a lot, based on antitrust laws, you can't prevent someone from making more of a profit. It's illegal. Well, Justin, how does the NFL have a salary cap? It's collectively bargained through a players' union. You can't prevent if somebody is selling insurance for State Farm and
Most likely an ex-quarterback.
probably is, and that might not be the best. Let's just say somebody is working for some marketing firm, right? Another marketing firm comes in and says, hey, you can come work for us. We'll pay you more. That marketing firm can't be like, we have a cap. You can't, we have a non-transfer rule. Like, no. That's antitrust. I am able to make as much money as I can. I'm probably butchering the law. And if my wife is listening, she's probably slapping her lawyer forehead. But that's essentially the nuts and the bolts of it is you can't prevent players from transferring because that's essentially preventing them from profiting. And there's already a law in the book saying you can profit off your name, image, likeness. So that way you cannot put a rule that limits profit. It's antitrust. So this would essentially create a collective bargaining agreement. TV revenue would be distributed between universities and the players. So players would be able to profit from the television contracts and also go out and make their own NIL deals. The universities would also have ownership, which is something a little different than what it currently is right now. And according to this College Sports Tomorrow, unlike the MLS, which also has kind of part of club ownership, top brands like Alabama and Notre Dame would receive more financial benefits than, we keep kicking Rutgers while they're down, but more than Rutgers. TV deals as one entity and creating broadcast windows that make more sense, like the NFL approach. Yeah, no stupid scheduling. I have never been a fan of the, hey, let's turn college football into the NFL. Never. But we are past the windmill in Back to the Future 3. We are past that. And I'm looking at the format and the setup, and I'm like, this looks from eight conferences with 10 teams. This looks familiar. I went back. Brenden, I went back, and I looked. I looked at college football in 1992. Back in 1992, of course, the Pac-10 conference had how many teams? 10. You know how many teams were in the ACC back in 1992?
10.
There was 9, but close.
Darn.
I know. That was mean-spirited of me. SEC had 12, but they had just brought in Arkansas from the Southwest Conference that had 8. So if you put Arkansas back in the Southwest Conference, the SEC goes back to 11 teams. The Big 8 had 8. The Big 10, hey, they had 10. The Big East had 8 teams. And that was back when they also had Miami and Virginia Tech back then. It wasn't like the Big East that we know now. The WAC had 10 teams. And as I mentioned, the Southwest Conference, well, they had 8. This is college football in 1992. If you take this current system, regionalize it, recreate the Pac-10, recreate the Big 8, or some form of the Big 8, recreate the WAC, recreate the Southwest Conference. Hey, we've got 10-team conferences. One is just going to be mostly Texas. So it's a lot like the Southwest Conference to me. What about one that's only on the Atlantic coast? Yeah, sounds like the ACC to me. Now, the problem is with all of this, as great as it sounds, which I am fully on board with, the problem with all of this is you are somehow, some way going to have to convince the Big Ten and the SEC to share a little bit of their gravy train, which I don't know a lot about what's going on.
It's going to be tough, but not impossible.
I don't know what's going on I know it's Chicago where the Big Ten is based. Or no, Indianapolis. Is it Indianapolis or is it Chicago? Either way. And I think it's in Birmingham is where the SEC is based.
Technically Rosemont, Illinois.
All right. Right around there.
Yeah.
You have to convince the Big Ten and the SEC to be like, you trust us. You're going to make more money in the end. And they're like, we're making a lot of money now. Why do we want to share all this gravy? So that was in the Athletic, which, by the way, it would save Oregon State and Washington State. It would give an advantage to schools that fund and financially invest in football. And you can take pieces of this and bring it into basketball as well, both men's and women's, and still keep your 64-team tournament. Makes too much sense. Probably not going to happen. All right. We have got some round ball rock. We got some NBA to talk about. Blazers get a win last night. Lose some ping pong balls in the process. But before we get to all of that, I do want to tell you about Oregon's roofing, windows, siding, and bath experts. That's right. Proud supporter of Operation Homefront. I, of course, am talking to you about DeBella and springtime, upcoming expenses, taking a look at your budget. Obviously, tax time is when a lot of people look at their financials and go like, oh, boy, can we afford home improvement? Well, how about this? Potentially pay for a new roof with savings and federal or state incentives. All you got to do is go solar because DeBella has all the details about updating your roof with solar shingles and taking advantage of those state and federal incentives. Connecting with DeBella is super easy. The estimates are free. They're scheduled at a convenient time that works for you. And look, you're going to get an unbelievable customer experience. How do I know that? Because over 15,000 five-star reviews on Google for their excellent work. That's not them telling you. That's not me. That is 15,000 plus of their customers thought enough to rate them at 5 stars. Plus, they've received accolades from Angie's List, Home Advisor, and they have an amazing finance opportunity. I've been telling you about it for a while now. No payments until 2025. We're still very much into the early stages of 2024, so no payments until 2025. The entire time, your updated roof, windows, bath, home efficiency, saving you money on your energy bills. So check out DeBella today for a free, no obligation appointment for your roofing, windows, siding, and bath projects. They are a proud supporter of Operation Homefront. It is DeBella. All right, hey, let's wrap up hour number one. Nice win for the Blazers last night, although it cost them some ping pong balls. But it was good to see Scoot Henderson play well last night. So he went toe-to-toe with the guy he's probably been compared with more than anybody because, like, Wemby came into the draft, no comparison. I mean, you've never seen anything like Victor Wembanyama before. And so then the argument was always, right, Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson. Who are you going to take at number 2? And then Brandon Miller got taken at number 2, and I would imagine Scoot Henderson probably was like, boy, I'm going to show. And, boy, when they went toe-to-toe, maybe Scoot's best game yesterday? I mean,
it's hard to remember this season, and
it really is. I
but
would
in
say
some respects, probably
the Damian Lillard game I think was maybe his best game, or at least the best first half. It's like, yeah, when he goes up against Dame, the guy who obviously he is going to be compared to, or the guy from the draft, man, he really came to play. Also, Charlotte is really, really bad at basketball, and it was a comedy of errors at the end of that game to see who was ultimately going to come out with the win. But the Blazers get the win. That's number 20. I'm getting sick of rooting for ping pong balls. So I'm still of the mindset of like, you know what? Still feels good to get a win every once in a while. But also, I saw this. I think it was a friend of the program, Mike Richmond, put this. Brenden, did you know that Jeremy Grant hasn't played a basketball game in the month of April since 2021? Since 2021.
Good to know he got low miles on those legs.
Jeremy Grant has not played a basketball game in the month of April.
Yikes.
That's interesting. All right. But other interesting things going on in the world of the NBA. Let's get some Tesh. Here we go. All right. Not only congratulations on the win last night, Coach, but congratulations to Chauncey Billups, who will be headed to the Basketball Hall of Fame. That's right. Vince Carter and Chauncey Billups were announced yesterday that they will be headed to the Hall of Fame. All right, first off, congratulations to Coach Billups, Finals MVP, successful career as a player. Vince Carter, one of my favorite players of all time. I'm like, he was one of my first, like, all right, he's not on my favorite team. He's not really even my favorite player, but boy, I like watching him every single night on SportsCenter. So Vince Carter, Chauncey Billups, both headed to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Other news and notes around the NBA, the Celtics wrapped up the number 1 seed. They get a win over Oklahoma City last night, 135-100. All right, can I get a little Stephen A. Smith first takey right now? Are the Celtics peaking too early? Are they peaking too? Are they going to have any gas left in the tank? I know it's a dumb take, but like I said, it's a little Stephen A. Smithy. But like, in all seriousness, are the Celtics peaking too early? I don't think so. I think they're an absolute wagon, but they have really nothing to play for the next, week and a half?
They're probably one of the better teams.
Get it out. There we go. Take a breath.
Better teams that I've seen built, like from top to bottom. They don't have any weaknesses. Again, they almost not in the same way that like Kevin Durant broke the NBA a couple years ago when he was with the Warriors. But looking at you, Portland, when you traded them and they were able to move off of Malcolm Brogdon and replace that with Drew Holiday in the aggregate, Justin, wow. I mean, no disrespect to Malcolm Brogdon, but Drew Holiday is a dude. I only know that because I watched them crush the Thunder last night. I watched a lot of that game.
All right, let me ask you this, because we've talked about this before. The 76ers get Joel Embiid back. Likely first-round pairing, either Indiana or Philly. If you're Boston, which would you prefer?
Oh, wait.
Indy or Boston?
Indy, without a doubt.
That's...
Right? I mean,
yeah.
I think so. I mean, Indiana's best player is probably
We get Tyrese Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton. But not Joel Embiid. No disrespect to Tyrese, great player, but not Joel Embiid.
So currently, and again, we'll see what happens with the play-in. You've got the Bulls and the Hawks. They're locked in, I think, for the 9 and the 10, because they're both 4 games under 500. They're locked in the 9 and the 10. Winner's going to play Philly, and then obviously we'll see what happens with the rest of the play-in. But yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what happens in that Pacers 76ers matchup. And if you were Boston, which one are you rooting for? Currently, a logjam at the top of the Western Conference of the NBA. You got Minnesota, Denver, Oklahoma City, just a game behind. I'm curious who really tries this last week. If you're Denver, do you almost kind of just hit cruise control knowing we know how this is done? All right. More college football talk coming up. We've got Make or Miss coming up. We have also got some stuff I saw on the internet as well. Jam-packed hour number 2 next, 620 Rip City Radio. It is 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Justin Myers with you. Portland Trailblazers snapped a 10-game skid, 89-86 victory over the Charlotte Hornets last night. Scoot Henderson and DeAndre Ayton combined for 46 points to carry the Blazers. Elsewhere in the NBA, the Boston Celtics have clinched the best record in the league. The Oakland A's, after news reported yesterday that they were pitching Oakland and Sacramento against one another, now look like Sacramento is saying, hey, come on down. The water is fine. Play here for 3 years in our AAA stadium, as they could be the Sacramento A's for the next 3 seasons. Coming up in hour number 3, Joel Gunderson, friend of the program, is going to be joining us. We've got a make or miss coming up in hour number 2, plus a radical idea by some very heavy hitters in the college football world. Plus stuff I saw on the internet. Hour 2 of Rip City Morning starts right now at 620 Rip City Radio. And welcome back to Rip City Mornings, everybody. As I mentioned in the update, our good friend Joel Gunderson is going to be joining us in the third hour. Spring football down in Eugene. Everybody's pumped. Everybody's excited. Obviously, you got some fascinating quarterback conversations. There is not going to be a competition, no matter what Dan Lanning says. But it is a fascinating quarterback situation with regard to both Dillon Gabriel coming in. Essentially, a one, like, this is where we are in college football. We're giving out 1-year deals. Like, the Steelers did this with Russell Wilson, right? Hey, Russ, come on in on a 1-year deal. And then they got Justin Fields behind him. And, like, Oregon essentially signed a one-year deal with Dillon Gabriel. It's like, come on in, play quarterback for us. We're going to be in the Big Ten next year. You can showcase, and, you know, if you look at the last quarterback that we had transfer in here, he's likely going in the first round. Like, that's where we're at. You are going to have essentially hired assassins. Like, you're a Star Wars guy, right, Brenden? You're going to have, like, the Boba Fett. He's like the bounty hunter, right?
Say it again?
Boba Fett. He's the bounty
Boba
hunter.
Fett, not fat.
Boba Fett. Sorry,
I was like, yeah, as
But
a
he's
Star
a- but
Wars
he's a
fan,
hired
that
gun.
triggers me a bit.
my apologies. What's the biggest triggering thing that mine is people getting lyrics wrong to songs. That bothers me. I have to internalize it a lot because nobody likes nobody likes an assistant principal in life. But is it the Star, like, like, I don't know jack about Star Wars.
Yeah,
The fact that I just called him Boba Fett.
I mean, movies and pop culture references for sure.
Boba Fett. But he was a hired gun, right?
He was, yeah. That part was correct.
Boom.
Just the name.
So I was, I was
yeah.
99% there.
Oh, yeah, I give you credit. But,
One
we
letter.
strive for accuracy on this program, Justin.
It's true. You wouldn't know it by listening to it, but we do. We do strive for accuracy. But that's where we are in college football right now. Could we get better? See that transition as we strive for transitions as well. Could we get better as a college football world? Because there is a group called the CST, College Sports Tomorrow. That sounds like a video I would have to watch, like in orientation. It is now, guys. We're gonna got an hour presentation. Welcome to College Sports Tomorrow. Wasn't that an office? Wasn't it Diversity Tomorrow? Because today's already gone. That's what first thing I thought of was Diversity Tomorrow. But Abraham Lincoln once said, "If you are a racist, I will attack you with the North." I gotta stop. All right. So College Sports Tomorrow. They are creating a radical plan to reshape college football. And on paper, it seems to be the best plan that anybody has come up with, right? Because I try my best. I'm not always 100% in lockstep with my own wishes, but I try my best to have a solution for things that I criticize. Right? We started on this show, we say no criticism without a solution. I try my best. And I have thrown up my hands at college football because no one with half a brain can take a look at this beloved sport of mine and yours and Brendan's and everybody else's, I would assume, in this listening audience. No one can sit there and look at college football and be like, you guys are crushing it. Boy, oh boy. You guys are wait a minute. You've got the Wild Wild West in terms of NIL. No player is really committed to anything at any point. Players are hippity-hopping, not just between teams, but rivalries. Teams are getting left behind. The ACC has Stanford and it's chaos. It is. It's chaos. And anybody with half a brain can look at college football and be like, you guys done messed up. And I have my idea was always, well, let's just go back. Well, that's not realistic, right? Accept reality on reality's terms. It is a great bit of advice that I have been given multiple times. Accept reality on realities. There is no turning back. There is no going back to the way it was. But can we get close? Can we get close? And this new College Sports Tomorrow, that is, by the way, this isn't a blog. No offense to bloggers, by the way. Crushing it out there. But this isn't a goofball radio host like myself who came up with this idea. This is the Chancellor of Syracuse. This is the president of West Virginia. What's the difference between president and chancellor? Do you know?
Yeah, usually a chancellor is the highest and a president's like number 2. If there is a chancellor, it's technically higher than the president. Like Oregon State doesn't have a chancellor.
No.
Oregon doesn't have a chancellor.
They have presidents.
But like Stanford has a chancellor. I don't think Washington does. It's very school dependent, but they are the hoity-toity, the tippity top.
What about the dean? Like the
deans are
like third
each school. So like you have the dean of the College of Liberal Arts, you have the dean of the College of Journalism. So another rung down. Dean
Pritchard, that was the guy on Old School, and it's Dean Wormer. The deans were always like. Those were the guys that always made the fun kids not have any more fun.
So many great references. Yeah.
So we can't do a thing.
Yeah, can't go down a rabbit hole or an Animal House rabbit hole because it'd be all day.
So Chancellor, Apex Predator, President, Dean, and all sorts of other things all in the mix there. But so the Chancellor of Syracuse, the President of West Virginia, top-level executive of the NFL, the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers. These are the guys who are running this College Sports Tomorrow and are essentially trying to create a compromise. Let's go back a little bit. Let's recreate. Now, they don't say this, but I think that's kind of the inspiration, right? Let's go back to 1992, right? Let's go back to 1989 with regard to who is playing whom. You got the Pac-10. You got the Big 8. You got the Big 10. You've got the ACC with 9 teams, by the way. You got the Southwest Conference still exists. The Big 12 didn't even exist back then. So you could create 80 teams. 80 teams to play in a college football world, 10 of which could be relegated and promoted. So the current Power 5, as we sit right now, the Pac-12, the Big 10 with 16 teams, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC, they would all, you add Notre Dame and you add SMU in there, they would all be protected. So 7 conferences, 10 teams. Boom. Then you have one kind of special conference. Maybe isn't regionally defined, but it is group of 6 teams. Tulane, Boise, Hawaii. Who else am I missing here? Like Utah State, Liberty. Those schools would have an opportunity to play if you are invested and you win at a significant amount, at a consistent level. You are going to be able to play with the big boys. You are essentially a power conference now. If you lose, well, you go down to what is now essentially the group of 6. And you still get to play football, and you still get to crown a champion, and you still get to have your games on TV. But other schools who are down there who are investing in football, well, they get to bump themselves up a little bit. In terms of what I, as a college football, I don't want to say purist, because it's never really been pure, right? Guys were getting paid under the table. I'm not a Pollyanna about that. But, like, in terms of what I kind of want college football to go back to, this is the closest thing we're ever going to get. You recreate the Pac-10. You recreate regional rivalries. You recreate regional conferences. You go back to 1992, but with the, it's like throwback jerseys, right? Oregon State, they wear the throwback jerseys, but they're not the throwback jerseys. They're the nice new ones, right? They look like the old ones, but it's got the new technology. It's kind of like what we like. We want stuff that looks like the old stuff, but has modern day comforts. That's what this would be. So it would look like college football in 1992. The difference is it would have modern day implementation, which is players get paid. There's a collective bargaining agreement, and there's some transfer rules and regulations. And a governing body that can essentially say, no, you can't play quarterback for 4 different teams. You can't do it. Sorry, we have to have some sense of order here. You can transfer. Not saying you are bound to one college for your entire college life. You can absolutely transfer. You get to go once. You get to go once, and if you'd like to transfer again, you got to transfer to a school that is in the lower relegation league, whatever we'd call it. NIL, sure, that's still a thing, but maybe they'll also have some form of payment from the television revenue so that it's not just a bunch of fat cap boosters enticing players to leave left and right. Because you get rid of one, you take care of the other, right? If you limit transfers, which you can't do now legally, if you limit transfers, the NIL problem is a moo point. It's Cal's opinion. It's a Friends reference. I know it's moot. I think I told this story once. I did remember in Animal House when he says, was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? And I made that reference once, and everybody called me an idiot, and I'm like, it's a movie reference, okay?
Dude, it's Bluto's best line, man. I mean, come on.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? I was like, oh, you idiot. And I'm like, that's a movie reference.
Well, and sometimes
like Joey on Friends said, it's a moo point. It's Cal's opinion.
Very relatable for us, Justin, is what happens after Bluto says that. The friends go, don't worry about it. He's rolling.
He is rolling.
Very relatable. He's rolling, Justin.
Do you like this system? I know I've been talking about,
I do, because it has a home for my team.
Boom. Okay,
so,
that is great.
Yeah.
Let's live in that world. But also it has a home for any other team that wants to fund and invest in football. And if you don't want to, that's fine. You can play down in the lower relegated division. But if you want to invest in, Boise State invested in football. They paid for that blue turf. You know what I mean? They put money and time and effort into investing in football, and they've won a lot because of it. Lately, Tulane has put time and effort and money into investing into football. Cincinnati did it as well, whereas other schools in the group of 6, they just don't. So if you want to put some time and some money and you want to invest, but you have a place at the table, it doesn't just say, hey, we are power, you are non-power. It's well, let's leave a little bit of wiggle room. Let's leave a spot open. Curious what Gunderson thinks about this. We'll talk to Joel Gunderson coming up in hour number 3. But coming up next, we've got Make or Miss, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, 1 hour from now, Joel Gunderson, friend of the program from Scoop Duck, is going to be joining us. Spring football. Brenden, I try, and you know what? I'm excited to talk to Joel. One, I just always like talking to Joel Gunderson about college sports and anything else. But I've tried over the years to get excited about spring football. I just can't do it. It's so difficult. You've covered spring football, and I there are things like if there's a quarterback competition, that's fun. I remember very much so heading into I believe it was the 2012 season, so the 2012 Oregon spring football, and it was like, wait. So Darren Thomas is gone. We've heard about this Hawaiian kid who's been ripping everybody up in practices that nobody's allowed to go watch. We've heard myth and legend of this Mariota. We've heard about this. And so spring football was kind of fascinating back then when you get a quarterback competition and you're like, oh boy. And then he took off and he had a 65-yard touchdown run in that spring game. Would have probably been tackled, but you know what? He was wearing a red jersey. Or I think when Bo Nix came in, and I would assume last year when DJU came in for Oregon State, when these transfers come in, and I'm sure the closer and closer we get to the Oregon spring game, we'll probably be more excited to see what Dylan Gabriel looks like. I want to see what Dante Moore looks like. But I can only hear so much of we're just getting better every day. I can only hear so much of it. But we'll talk to Joel Gunderson coming up in an hour from now. Right now, though, a special birthday edition. I don't know if you have anything special, but it's Brendan's birthday today. He is 28 years old because he's not old enough to be called years young. I hope nobody ever calls me years young. That's just it's such a kick in the teeth. 45 years young. No, I'm not there yet. But Brendan's 28 today. Very excited about it. And he's got make or miss. Here we go.
All right, Justin, this first one's going to be real simple.
All right.
The Blazers won when it would have been better to lose.
Okay, let's talk this out before I give my final verdict of make or miss, which is about 50-50 if I ever get back to that. In this draft, where there is no white whale, there is no Wemby sitting there. In this draft, how significant is each and every ping pong ball? Is it just one of those things where it's just better? You're not going to the postseason. It's better to collect as many as possible. I don't know. I just wonder, how significant is it in this draft? What would be a better thing? Scoot having a good game, which we need him to pop. Scoot having a good game, or getting back in and trying to get top 3, top 2 in this draft. That's my only question. Normally, every other year, I would be should have lost that game, should continue to lose all the games, collect some ping pong balls at this point in the season.
Yeah,
but you do need Scoot to have some good games, you know?
Collectively, if they had gotten to 3, which was very possible, you couldn't have fallen less than 6, when in reality now there's a chance they could fall to 9th. So,
okay.
That's a big piece.
We never do figure the whole falling backwards piece of this, huh?
Yeah.
Because every time I hear people talk about the ping pong balls, it's they've got a chance of having the number 1 pick. It's they got a pretty good chance of having the number 9 pick, too.
So everything just, shrinks the lower you get. So, Detroit being the worst team can't fall below 5.
Yes.
Right? So it's
I knew that.
That, I don't disagree. It was nice to see, Scoot actually have a good game. But for how awful this season has been, what's 2, 3, 4 more losses?
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I know.
That part's what have we been losing for all season if not to get one of the top picks, and likely Alex Sarr. So yeah, he's not a Wemby.
He's the other French guy.
Yeah, but I think he's going to go.
He's only 7'2", right?
Yeah, only. Pretty big.
Isn't that crazy? What Wembanyama has done to the grading curve. It's he's 7'2". Yeah, he's a 7'2" French guy that can shoot. That's still pretty good. He's not 7'4", but he can still shoot, and he's over 7 feet tall. Who else is there? Like, so I know there's
The two dudes from Kentucky are going to go really high this year, but they're both guards, so that's not anything the Blazers
well,
are.
then we'll draft one of them then.
You're right. Probably draft a 6'2" point guard just because.
That's what we do, Brenden. That's what we do. We used to draft big men that got hurt. Finally, I think, did Zach Collins break us of that habit?
He did.
Like, enough of the big men that got hurt. What else? 6'2" guards. That's all we're drafting.
Just guards, and offensive guards at that. Not even like defensive guys.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, as the if everything kind of goes chalk, Justin, it looks like the Warriors. We didn't get a chance to talk about Rumble Rock, but it looks like the Warriors are gonna hold off the Rockets for that last spot.
But if they lose the play-in,
It's 3 games. Yeah.
if they lose the play-in, then Blazers get their pick, right?
They will actually get their pick no matter what.
Oh, no matter what.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
wait, if it's a top 3, the Blazers don't get it.
Yes, which
Other
that would
way
be.
around.
I think the Warriors are almost. Let's see. Justin, there is a 3.1% chance of that happening. So I think that's pretty good odds for the Blazers.
Okay.
So it would be like a year that the Cavs got Kyrie.
So
where like they were the last lottery team.
you think that one was rigged?
It was kind of coincidence.
You think that one was rigged because they just lost LeBron?
Yeah.
They lost LeBron.
And get Kyrie.
And they got not just Kyrie, but they got the number 1 pick.
And Kyrie was pretty good.
And what was their chances?
Oh gosh, like 1%. Like it was.
I mean, you
it
just
was like
lost.
the longest lottery. I remember well. It was a very long lottery.
Second
odds.
greatest player, hometown hero, spurns you
Yeah.
to go to Miami, and you get the number 1 pick the next year? I mean, I don't like NBA lottery conspiracy theories because, as I've said multiple times, like when Zion was up there, the fact that the Knicks didn't get it, like
Hey, you told me the cold envelope was a real thing.
nobody knows it was a
Yeah.
real thing that
Yeah.
was out there
Yeah.
in the universe, like as a conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
I
but-
wasn't there.
But
I
you
didn't
told me you
handle-
thought you're like there could be some legs to that.
The thing that I thought most was the bent corner theory. So like, but they needed the cold envelope to know. So they had the frozen envelope, and then the guy frisbeed it, bink, into the corner, and it was like that put a little bend in
Little
the
notch into
corner,
it.
a little notch, and they're like, oh, Patrick Ewing to the Knicks.
Just saying, they worked out then.
But I'm just the fact that Zion, forget what we know about Zion now. Zion was the biggest at the time. Remember, the biggest can't miss prospect since LeBron. And the New Orleans Pelicans got him. Like, it's the whole like football conspiracy theory. Oh, the NFL's rigged. Like, then why haven't the Cowboys won in the playoffs? Like, the Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl every year if there was any evidence to that. And if the NBA was rigged, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Denver Nuggets would not have 2 of the last 3 championships. That's not how it works. If
So
you're
with this-
if you are rigging the system.
Yeah. So with this, Justin, like, what happens if what do you think the mood of the fan base is if, say, it's like 2 years ago, you get the 5th best odds, you fall back to 7th, like where they drafted Shaden Sharp,
Mm-hmm.
which is, as of right now, a 30% chance. It's their highest percent right now. So, like, right
Yeah.
now, unless there'll be the most ping pong balls to land at number 7, Justin. So, if you have another pretty rough year and you're back at 7 after you were 3 last year, you know what I mean? Like, that is sizable. It is.
At some point, you got to make do with what you got. You know what I mean? And I guess you can.
The Thunder didn't. Feel
You
that
can
way.
walk and chew gum, but the Thunder, like, they got Chet and they got Shea, and they're like, we are winning with these guys.
And the Williams, the 2 Williamses who they picked in the first round, and Josh Giddey who they picked in the first round. and-
What happened to that? Did that thing just kind of fall? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
Josh-
she was over. She was 18. It was good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was 18. Now, I hate to. That sounds really
That's
terrible coming
terrible.
out of my mouth.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, folks. That sounds terrible. But yes, the girl that he was talking with on Snapchat, as it turned out, she was an adult.
Allegedly more than talking.
She was an adult.
There's allegedly
So
more
they
than, more than
said.
talking.
But again, yeah. So, like, they have Justin an entire starting 5 of dudes who were, I think, top 10 picks.
All right.
Or, well, let me rephrase.
Well,
Top 50.
but Shea was traded, so
Yeah, and, you know, I think he was taken like 11th or something like that. I said Giddey went top 10. Chet went top 10.
Mhm.
One of the Williams went in the 20. I mean, you know, they still have, you know, Justin and I have talked about, like, the Thunder, the Celtics might be the short-term stock buy. The Thunder are probably still the long-term option here, Justin, along with the Timberwolves, because it's like, even Jokic, you're getting up there. Like, he's pushing 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shea and Chet, they're just getting started,
Dude.
man. Same with Anthony Edwards,
I'm
man.
with you.
So,
I'm with you.
yeah.
But the problem with the Timberwolves is, like, at some point, Gobert is going to fall apart.
Or some point, Glenn
And-
Taylor doesn't want to spend on the team.
Yeah, well, and I don't have any faith in Karl Anthony Towns being a. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's figured it out as well. Don't have any faith in that guy. But I guess it probably was better to lose last night. But maybe it's because I was sitting there watching the game, and I was like, let's just get one for the boys. Let's just get to 20. Let's get to 20. And they got the Wizards now tomorrow night. Maybe they'll win 2 in a row. Who knows?
Little fun maker.
But yeah, it's probably was better.
Yeah, little fun make or miss kind of sidebar, Justin. I'm curious to get your thoughts as we just talked about this. We were at trivia last night, and your boy whiffed on a sports question that I should have known, and I want to know if you can name it.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a little mini make
All
or
right,
miss.
can I preface this real quick?
Sure.
This is going to sound weird. I am not good at sports trivia.
Fair.
I'm not. And you're like, oh, you do. You love sports. You're just like, I don't like my who won the World Series 4 years ago. I don't know. I think
that
it
was
the
with
Dodgers.
Patrick Mahomes. I love it.
But like,
Yeah.
like who won the national championship in college basketball last year?
So that was.
I had to look. It's Kansas.
So the
but-
crux of the question, Justin, and I believe like my trivia mates threw the phone down to me and said, Brenden, we got nothing. And I still couldn't even deliver, man.
All right.
I only got 2 out of 4. But name the 4 college basketball programs
Mhm.
that have won a championship since 2000
Okay.
and are private institutions
Okay.
and that don't have a state or an actual state
Mhm.
name. So it can't be like Michigan State. Like it can't include a
Yeah. So if it's a private institution, okay. So like.
I got 2 that came to
So
mind.
Duke and Villanova, boom, right there. Duke and Villanova.
Right? It's like, oh.
And there's 2 more, huh? Man. Now I'm just
Yeah, it took me a minute. I'm like, oh, yeah, what was the other one? So one of them's going to,
since 2000.
yeah, one of them surprised the heck out of me. One I was able to be like, oh, yeah. So the third is Baylor. Baylor is surprising.
You always forget about that Baylor
You do.
championship. Was that the COVID one?
Year after.
Year after COVID.
Yes.
All right, so
2020. It was real. It wasn't in
yeah, gotcha.
Hinkle Field House for the whole thing. But yeah. And then the fourth.
Hold on.
Yep.
Give me a conference. Can you give me a conference?
I don't know that conference exists anymore, which may be a easy giveaway. I think it was the. Actually, it was. I'll give you a hint: either Big East or ACC. I don't want to give it away too much.
Big East or the Big East or AC.
I actually can't remember exactly where they were at the time, but it's one of those 2.
I don't know. Who is it?
Carmelo and the Syracuse Orange.
Syracuse.
I was shocked when I was like, oh, like it was hard, man.
That
was,
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I had
Syracuse.
no idea, and I was like, yeah, go figure, right? So that was hard because I got people going Kentucky. I'm like, not the state name.
I know.
And it's harder than you think when you're like, oh, Tom
Well,
Izzo.
I got Duke and Villanova right off the bat. Like those 2, I get it. And it was like, I forgot about Baylor.
Baylor's tough, and me,
And
it
I
was
would have never
Syracuse.
gotten Syracuse because I don't know
Yeah.
why I don't think of Syracuse as like a private.
Neither do I.
But
Yeah, it just
They are.
completely. So shout out to Mello going to private university, man. All right, let's go ahead
I'm
and
usually
get back to make or miss.
like
but
the
yeah,
colleges, like without state names, I'm usually really good at those.
But tell me that's not reasonably hard even for a sports
yeah.
obsessed person. And I was like, yeah.
There's probably multiple people driving or listening online, or will be listening later this afternoon. Who knows? Who are like, there's Syracuse and there's Baylor. Come on.
Hey, man, like I said, you could have rocked Langer's trivia last night, but let's go ahead and move on.
Isn't that weird? Like, I am not very good at sports trivia. Like, maybe it's because it's like I talk about sports for the day, and then it's like, bleh, and then we move on to the next topic over and over again. But
Yeah,
I'm just not good at it.
Yeah, we've discussed this, Justin. Remember, you would put yourself up against anybody, Saved by the Bell trivia.
100%.
as I recall, you and
100%.
the voice of the Blazers, we had a moment where we
Yeah.
did
We did
legitimately Saved by the Bell trivia. So
And Trav knows his stuff too.
yeah. So
But I put myself up against anybody. Saved by the Bell.
next time we have Trav, I might have to drop in a hey fellas, let's look at this question. But over to next on Make or Miss. Justin, we hinted at this yesterday, but didn't really get a chance to talk about it, so I'm excited too. As it turns out, not everyone in Kansas City is a Chiefs fan.
All right, what did I miss?
So the Kansas City Chiefs and the Hunt family, who own the Chiefs, were overwhelmingly shut down for a public levy to, I'm not sure if it's rebuild Arrowhead, renovate Arrowhead, and now there's rumors that the Chiefs could move to Texas. So, for a two-time, in the last 2 years, Super Bowl champ, three-time, four-time overall, the fact that this, there's a large pushback of the city who is like, you guys just won 3 Super Bowls. You shouldn't need public money for this.
I hate it when owners do this. Where, okay, I just looked it up because I was curious. Did you, net worth of the Hunt family, have you Googled it yet?
No.
Take a guess.
I think $5 billion.
$24 billion.
Okay. It's a little bit more than I thought.
Yeah, I did too. I Googled it, so I'm not an expert here. I'm like old school Alex Trebek, like when he gets all, like, by the way, RIP to Alex. But Alex Trebek used to get a little snooty sometimes, like, ooh, no. And it's like, dude, you got a card, Alex. Like, $24.8 billion. Now, that's according to Google. The Hunt Oil Company and Hunt Petroleum and Energy. Turns out, very profitable.
Who would have thought, right?
So they got nearly $25 billion. You can, and I know not all of it's liquid. All right, I get it, but you're mega rich. The mega rich people can find the money. Why would you hold that over taxpayers and threaten to leave? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it when these owners do this. Like, you are rich. You can be rich and also be a human being at the same time. Like, I hate it when they do this. Like, oh, well, if we don't get this, we might move to Texas. Like, why? Just renovate it yourself.
And another thing that's into this too is I didn't realize, because I've never been to the great atmosphere that is Arrowhead Stadium. This also includes Kauffman Stadium, which is where the Royals play. So that's more than just this, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that the Royals are like, hey, we want our new stadium too. So ultimately, I'm very curious to see how this ultimately shakes out, because I was, my brother's like, go figure. Kansas City, they're trying to put the bill on, the Kansas City taxpayers. And I can get some frustration with that because, Justin, we've talked about it. I've said over and over again, the best way to do this, Justin, let me ask you a few questions.
By the way, the owner of the Kansas City Royals, I just Googled, not $24 billion, but worth $8 billion.
Plenty. They can come together.
All right, so we can make a deal and maybe get some bulldozers and some cranes and some,
I'm no expert.
Some welders, and we can renovate this stadium without making people pay more taxes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Justin. All the welders in the world might be in Baltimore trying to break up that bridge.
Dude, that bridge.
Oh,
that
my
went down
gosh,
fast.
man. So much work. It is absolutely insane. But more on that, maybe never. But the last point on this, like, Justin, that's why I always look back to Stan Kroenke. And Stan Kroenke is the golden goose, golden child for how to do things, because again, I'm no expert other than, and the Golden State Warriors are kind of a bit of a model too. There is probably not a tougher 2 places in America to build a stadium than San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles. Not only because of the tax, everything else, but it's like in those areas, it's, hey, we put a shovel in the ground. You hit a rare earthworm. Can't keep digging.
Yeah, there's a lot of things there.
So with that, the fact that Stan Kroenke's like, I'm going to build the most expensive stadium in the world, and I'm going to pay for it all myself. And that way it's my stadium, and you guys can't tell me what to do with it.
Well, it's like, I think...
And that's exactly what he did.
Didn't Robert Kraft do that? Didn't he, like, build Gillette Stadium? Like, that's
pretty much same thing.
He built it, like... It's so frustrating. And, like, I understand, like, hey, this is going to be good for everybody. So you invest with taxes, and then the economics is going to work. It's like, no. You're worth $25 billion. So just cut a check. I didn't see that. I didn't realize I was going to get so fired up. All right.
Make or miss is 4, baby.
All right, coming up next, Shohei Ohtani has hit his first home run as a Dodger. The fan that caught it was rewarded. Did the fan get the short end of the baseball bat? Talk about that coming up next. But before we do, I do want to tell you about DeBella. That's right, roofing, siding, windows, and bath experts. DeBella, who is a proud supporter of Operation Homefront, wants to help you save money this spring by upgrading your roof. You might think that's really expensive, Justin. Well, how about this? No payments until 2025. That's, of course, on approved credit. He said, yeah, but in 2025, Justin, that's going to be expensive. Well, how about this? Maybe in that time, you can save money on your energy bills with a energy-efficient roof. And if you go solar, you could take advantage of federal or state incentives. You could almost pay for your roof through the incentives. DeBella has all the details. All you got to do is contact them for a free estimate that is so convenient and schedule on time that works for you. They've been featured in HGTV, Better Homes and Gardens, 15,000 five-star reviews on Google for their excellent work. That's right. You got to go page after page after page of reviews because of so many five-star reviews they have got on Google. And Angie's List and Home Advisor have given them accolades on their award-winning customer service. So check out DeBella today for a free, no-obligation appointment for roofing, windows, siding, bath. They are the experts in the state of Oregon. They are a proud supporter of Operation Homefront. They are DeBella. I always laugh at what the YouTube audience must see. Because
See you dancing a lot.
for those that are just listening to the program audio version, when the music kicks in at the beginning of the segment, I do a little ditty.
Always know my song choice is dictated by how much you dance. So I know if I hit the mark or
we
not.
have collabed over the last 3 years and change to like put, songs that I believe have a little bit of my personality in it. And, when I get pumped up for a segment, right, I know that I've got a little bit too much caffeine and just a lot of internal energy because I am pumped to be here anyways. But
you did give me
a
specific
little intro music and
Yeah.
like it's like an at-bat music for the segment. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so, but because YouTube is YouTube, which is great, we love YouTube. Please don't take us off the air, off the YouTubes. And if you watch via YouTube, hey everybody, you don't get to hear the music because we get
rights and all that.
we get slapped on the wrist.
Yep, rights and all
If we
that.
were to play the song, so like I always wonder, like YouTube doesn't have that Dr. Dre song
Yeah, you're like
that
just
I was just bumping to.
You're just jamming to rock music. Just
It probably does not.
yeah. It's
jive.
just generic rock music. I'll be honest for it. It is what it is.
A little behind the curtains of what's going
Yeah.
on here at Rip City Mornings. I did want to throw this out. We had this discussion yesterday. Remember when I asked you if you ever got a foul ball? And foul balls are one thing. Home run balls. I've never caught a home run ball.
No, I never
Now-
sat in the outfield.
I'm probably never going to catch a home run ball because I ain't sitting over there.
Yeah, go to.
I sit in the good seats now. You know what I mean? And it's not because of me. But when I was a kid,
So you gonna go to Tourist Park and go sit out in the outfield?
not in the outfield. No. No. I'm going to sit in the good spots.
Forget Angels in the outfield. It's Justin in the outfield.
But when I was a kid, we would sit in the outfield. Like as a family of 5, all right? My parents were teachers.
we all know how that
Can't
goes.
exactly be sitting
Yeah.
behind home plate, if you know what I mean. So when we would go to like the Mariner games, we would go down to like the Giants games, we would sit out in left field. We'd sit out in right field. And I'd always hoped and dreamed one day that I would catch a home run ball. Never happened. Never got particularly close to catching a home run ball. But one lucky fan in Los Angeles caught Shohei Ohtani's home run against the Giants yesterday. Now, the significance of this home run ball was this was the first home run that Shohei Ohtani has hit for the Dodgers. It could potentially be worth something. If Shohei Ohtani has a storied career with the Dodgers, goes into the Baseball Hall of Fame as a Dodger, to have his first Dodger home run, it could potentially be worth something. Or it might not be worth anything because it's a home run ball. He's hit multiple home runs already in Major League Baseball. This happened to be his first one for the Dodgers. So, Ohtani blasts one out to right field. Woman catches a ball. And after the game, Ohtani said, I was able to get talk to the fan and get the ball back. Obviously, it's a very special ball. I wonder who he's speaking through. Has he got a new interpreter? Probably. They probably had one on standby. I have a lot of feelings towards it. I'm very grateful that it's back. Here is what the fan received in return for being a good fan and a good Samaritan of giving the baseball back. She received a bat, a Shohei Ohtani bat, a couple of hats, and another game-used ball, but not a home run ball. And some people on the internet are saying that she got absolutely fleeced. Shohei Ohtani bat, probably not a gamer, because this is the other thing that people don't know. Major League Baseball players have lots of bats. There are the gamers, the ones that you only use in a game. Those are top level. Then there are they're batting practice bats, and then there are ones that you give to fans. Right? They've got them. They look like the other ones, but they're not the quality. So like probably got a souvenir bat, which is cool. Couple of hats and a replacement ball. Brenden, did this fan get fleeced?
Oh, it's crap. Sorry. No disrespect, but that's crap. I mean, at this point, I'd be like, can I get like a little like funny joke? Like print me off a bet slip and it's signed by Ohtani, right? I mean,
what would you have asked for? Because
I would have kept the ball. I would have kept the ball. Pry it from my hands.
Oh, boy.
I would have kept the ball and been like, this is Otani's first home run as a Dodger. 30, 40 years, Justin? I'm selling that to Sotheby's and retiring.
Yeah, but what if Otani gets busted for betting or whatever?
It might be worth just as much.
It might be worth more, you're right.
Yeah, I'd be like,
But what if Otani just kind of falls apart and he doesn't have this Hall of Fame career and he turns out to just be an average dude in Major League Baseball? You're like, I got Shohei Otani's. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Wasn't he like he was really good in
That's
the
a good
2020s?
point.
I don't know. I've always just thought if you were a fan of the team, and I don't know.
They can't forcibly take it from you, can they?
No.
But
as a fan, you give it back, but I don't know, maybe I'd ask for a jersey or something.
At least something high end.
I think
maybe
at least a jersey.
Some beers?
Maybe
Can they give you beers?
Maybe a game, a couple of games behind home plate. I don't know. But yeah, a couple of hats and a replacement ball and a bat. Feels a little bit low end, but better than a stick in the eye, I guess. All right, we have got hour number 3 coming up. Joel Gunderson joins the show. We got the RCM mailbag and a whole lot more next. 620 Rip City Radio. It is 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Justin Myers with you. Portland Trail Blazers snap a 10-game losing streak with an 89-86 victory over the Charlotte Hornets. Got to win. No chicken McNuggets, though. Scoot Henderson, maybe his best game of the season. Him and DeAndre Ayton combined for 46 points to carry the Blazers over the Hornets. Elsewhere in the NBA, the Boston Celtics get a big win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it is significant because they now clinch the best record in the NBA. They will have home court advantage throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs, and the Oakland A's are zeroing in on Sacramento. Rise up, Sacktown. From Oakland to Sacktown, the Bay Area, and back down? That's what Tupac told us. But they are zeroing in on Sacramento as the A's could play at the Giants AAA Stadium for the next 3 seasons. Joel Gunderson joins us in 20 minutes. We have also got an RCM mailbag. Hour 3 of Rip City Morning starts right now at 620 Rip City Radio. All right, welcome to hour number 3. This feels like some significant breaking news. Julius Randle will undergo season-ending right shoulder surgery. That is, of course, reported by Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN. Where are the Knicks right now? Are they 4th? 5th. Knicks currently 5th, just half a game away from the 4th seed in the East. And, Brenden, I kind of had the Knicks as one of those maybe sneaky teams because they play defense. They're tough. I think that's a team that could maybe withstand a Boston Celtics or a Milwaukee Bucks kind of offensive onslaught. They got no Julius Randle. They're done, right? They're donezo? It was a good run for the Knicks.
He's a really good player.
Really good player.
OG Anunoby's hurt. I'm not sure if he's back yet or not. They still have decent enough talent, but I don't think they're a contender now. I think they could win a round or two, but not going to beat Boston.
Will they beat?
Or Milwaukee, probably, for that matter.
If they ultimately, if the East ultimately shakes out the way it is, they would be playing Orlando in the first round. They might not even beat Orlando. So, basketball-wise, there you go. Julius Randle undergoes season-ending right shoulder surgery, reported by Woj. It is a special day here on Rip City Mornings. It is super producer Brendan's birthday. He went and got himself a birthday coffee today. He's going to go live it up with Red Bull vodkas and degenerate gambling at the Spirit Mountain Casino coming up over the weekend. You only blackjack, or do you get a little crazy on the birthday?
I probably won't mess around with anything but blackjack.
Just blackjack.
Probably, yeah.
But we talked about it earlier. You said math not your strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
So how
it's just addition, baby. Addition.
But for me though, it's not just addition. It's you have to see all the other cards and do all their math, and then what's already come up. And I know it's got a big old horseshoe, and so you can't really count cards like they do in the movies. But that's where I get if I was just handling my own stuff, boy, I hate when usually people get excited when an ace pops up, right? Because it's hey, maybe a blackjack. But if an ace pops up, I get instant anxiety because then you got to do the 11 or the 1 if you don't get a 10 with it. And it's a hit, I guess. And they're dude, you're at 20. And I'm oh, I thought it was a 1.
Anything else, it's
everybody at the table hates me. They all hate me, and I don't like playing it.
Yeah, it's like anything else. It's if you practice enough at it, I can remember the first few times going to Vegas and making, weak mistakes on that table, and then you irritate the rest of the table. So you have to know what you're doing. And even now, there's sometimes that, blackjack is a lot of what would you do? And kind of, the book would say to do this, but you still got to take your own risks. And I usually like to talk to people at the table with me. Is I chum it up with the dude next to me or dude on my left or right, being we all want to be the dealer. So it's we all team up.
I think I told this story before, but I retell stories. That's welcome to the show. I was at the Mill Casino in Coos Bay, Oregon, and I got screamed at because I took the bust card away from the dealer. And I'm like, all right, I think I should just go to the bar now. I think I'm going to be done. So Brendan's going to be playing blackjack, just grinding it out. Will he be here on Monday? I don't know. Find out. If he loses a lot or if he wins a lot, we'll find out if Brendan makes it back. What's the best birthday gift you ever got? Like, when you, think back, first off, I would assume every gift from your loving parents, probably special place, but something's got to be the best. Like, what was one where you're like, oh my God, this is the best ever? Best ever birthday present. I remember mine.
That's a really good question.
That's why I'm a professional interviewer.
Yeah, if I'm sure something will come to mind. We may have to circle back to this, and Justin can do a reverse mailbag, so I can kind of think about it a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, let's put a pin in that because I want to give you a good answer, but I need to think a little bit.
There's a couple come to mind. When I believe I was 9. I was 9 years old. I got back then we called them a boom box. There was another name for it that's probably don't say anymore, but I got a boom box. What do you like? When I say boom box, you know what I'm talking about, right? Big stereo.
Yeah, stand outside of a girl's house with the stereo on your shoulder.
Boom.
Yeah, or above your head, whatever it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your Eyes, Peter Gabriel.
Totally, man. I
playing
know,
it
I know
right
about
there.
the boom boxes. I ain't as young as you think.
So I got a boom box, and it had not one but 2 tape decks. So you could
double down.
I could record so if my friend got the New Kids on the Block tape, I could then record it on my Memorex tapes, which, let me tell you. And I thought I was the coolest dude in Winston because I could walk around the Winston Community Park with my boombox bumping Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff. I thought I was the man. And then I would also record the radio. Shout out to Q103.
Nice.
Or no, the B103. It was B103 down in Roseburg. I would record I could beat Mike Tyson was the name of the song by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, or Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation.
Yeah, I don't know if now at 28 I say it's one of my it is the best, but one that stands out was when I was about 11 or 12, and at the time, Justin, this was pretty big, kind of like it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Star Wars Mania. It was when they dropped the most recent, concluded that series.
Which one was that?
That was 3, where Anakin became Darth Vader.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that was big. For those who thought that was the last Star Wars ever made, which is what they said at the time.
That's like it's the Eagles retirement tour, and it's it's not.
Yeah, so it was really
well,
cool.
That was I went to see a handful of years ago. I went to see Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
And I drove because he played in Tacoma, but there was an Oregon game, and so there was a bye week. He played in Spokane. I drove to Spokane, Washington to see Garth Brooks because this was supposedly the farewell tour for Garth Brooks. And I had never seen, I am a huge fan.
Yeah.
I had this the one show that always just kind of escaped me.
Yeah.
And it was so Kelly got me tickets because she is a loving wife, loving girlfriend back then. Drove to Spokane, Washington to watch Garth Brooks play the farewell tour. And then he opened up a Vegas residency, and he played Autzen Stadium. And wait, I thought this was it. It was farewell. Nope.
Exactly. So
this was the Star Wars thing.
Yeah, 05. I guess maybe I was 8.
So there was the Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
Then what was the other one?
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
That was.
Then there was...
Oh, sorry. The first one with Liam Neeson, Phantom Menace, came out in...
Phantom Menace.
99 was the first one after Return of the Jedi in
Jar
the
Jar
80s.
Binks.
Yep. And then
I watched that one.
Attack of the Clones.
Watched that one in the theater.
Phantom Menace?
Yeah, didn't get it.
Hey, man, that's good. I mean, the prequels take a lot of hate. I liked them. They were my Star Wars. Those are the ones I grew up with. So, everyone, has an opinion. But regardless, Justin, they had a full Darth Vader helmet that you could wear and put your head in. And
Did it do the noise? Did it do the?
it had little buttons that you could press the button and you could say what you wanted and it would change your voice to come. So I could say,
So you could talk like James Earl Jones.
yeah, I could literally be like, Luke, I am your father. And there it was, right? So
Wasn't that one of the things like he never said that though? Wasn't there?
James Earl? Like that? Or.
Well, there's a line in Star Wars that like we always get wrong.
Yeah, not that one. No,
right.
that's still as Luke is, armless and Darth Vader says, Luke, I am your father. And he cries and falls down the giant shaft and should not live, but he does.
But he does.
But, yeah, no, like that was a really cool one because I was a big Star Wars fan. I'm trying to think, like, honestly, like, I'll maybe come up with something a little bit older, but, like, I didn't get a car for, like, my 16th birthday or any, like, most kids that, have, like, a huge birthday, like, hey, I was 16, I got a car. That's going to be, like, the thing that always stands out in their
You were also, like, that show on MTV, the My Super Sweet 16, do you remember that show? That was, like, your people, right?
Yeah, it
And they
kind of
were like-
was, yeah.
I remember that show that they'd get like a BMW and like, I said Mercedes. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to murder all these children. I want to destroy each and every one of these children.
I mean, it's I know right now some member of my family is screaming at the radio, going, Brenden, I bought you this when you were 14. I can't believe you don't remember it. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike. See, just that should show I'm not a very materialistic person. So
That's what it is.
Uh-huh.
Definitely not ungrateful. It is that you just don't see material things. It's more about memories and experiences.
I'm a
Definitely.
nostalgic guy. I'm like, take me back to being 16 again, man. I'd run it back.
Well, we've talked about this. Like when I grew up, Abby's and Pietro's was the place where you would go to have if you had a birthday party or your buddy had a birthday party at Abby's or Pietro's, it was going to be a good time. Skating rink. Whoo. Skating rink was another big one. I know there was the Wonderland, which was the arcade where you could play with nickels instead of quarters. That was a big birthday party. Where was the birthday party spot?
So there was a pizza place in Sherwood at the time, was Godfather's, and I think I mentioned to you that's where like all the soccer parties and stuff were. To be honest, I remember a lot of birthdays were at we went to the movie theater a lot.
I've always wondered because now did you get like in the party room?
No,
you just we're all going to watch this movie.
So one of the better memories I have, I had to have been like 13 or 14, and me and two of my buddies went to go see the sequel to Are We There Yet? Ice Cube, Neil Long. I don't know if you've ever seen
I have not seen it, but I know the movie.
Know of it kind of a thing. It is about as good as you would expect. Like it's a classic 12, 13-year-old boys are going to have fun watching this, not so great movie. But Justin, we were shout out the Sherwood Regal, which is no longer a business, so we're good.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah, COVID took down the Regal in Sherwood. It didn't survive.
Had a good run, Regal.
Yeah.
We really did.
But Justin, we were one of we were 3 of 7 people in the theater for a 1 o'clock. Parents got us out of school early, so we got to go literally watch a movie during school hours. There were 4 people in there. I remember we threw popcorn. We did this. we were not it, as they say. So
I think
Regal had some cleanup to do.
I think I went and watched Home Alone 3 different times. Tyler Worthen's birthday party was at Home Alone. I think there was a couple others. I can't remember. I saw Home Alone in the theater 4 or 5 times because it was everybody's birthday. It was we're all coming in. We're going to Home Alone. All right.
So you knew keep the change by
you
just
filthy
heart.
animal. Yeah, we knew it all. Yeah,
I love it.
We saw it all. You went and saw it with your family, and then you went and saw it again because it was this is the funniest movie of all time. I want to see this again. At least that's what I felt back when I watched. And then it was well, Tyler Worthen's having a birthday party. We're all going to watch Home Alone. It's this is going to be awesome.
I
watched this so many times. All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk some Oregon football. Spring football going on. Interesting quarterback situation. A lot of new faces. Coach Lanning's crushing it in the transfer portal. We're going to talk about that with friend of the program, Joel Gunderson, next, 620 Rip City Radio. As I mentioned yesterday, it is optimism season. Every college football program across the country just getting better every single day. Oh, really happy with participation we've had this offseason. Every transfer coming in fills a need. Great get. Every transfer that heads out, never wanted him. Never liked that guy. It is optimism season. And you know what also makes me optimistic? Talking to our next guest. Because you know what? One of the only people in this world that can nerd out on Oregon football as much as I can, and that's why he's a friend of the program. His name is Joel Gunderson from Scoop Duck. Joel, welcome back to the show, bud. How we doing?
This morning has been quite the week, my friend, but I am doing good, and I am hanging in there, and I'm glad to be talking to you for 20 minutes.
You know what? I appreciate it. I don't know what has gone on this morning, but I can tell from the tone of your voice. It's only 8:22, and it sounds like you've had a bit of a day. So let's dive into it. Real quick, I don't know if you've seen the article that came out in The Athletic yesterday. Stuart Mandel was reporting that apparently there is a group that is being led by Gordon Gee from West Virginia, the chancellor of Syracuse, and a lot of other very high-profile figures in the college athletics world that is essentially trying to change up the format of college football. And it's actually the best case I've seen for kind of a hybrid NFL, hybrid old school college with 10 teams in a conference, hybrid Premier League relegation promotion. I don't know if you've seen this scenario, but it looks as though they want to take college football and essentially separate the top 80 programs and create its own thing. Are you in on this, or are you in on the let's just kind of see what happens with this whole new college football playoff and new conference realignment and everything else?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, I did not see the article. I heard about it. But, you know, I've long been a fan of anything that keeps the playoffs from expanding too big. Because to me, you know, with all the conference alignment and all that stuff, look, that's been going on for 100 years. We just don't realize it. That, you know, conferences just change a lot. So that's normal. To me, and I think, you know, you and I are both very much college football traditionalists. We enjoy, you know, the fact that the game means something, every week means something. So to me, as long as we stay away from a eventual 16-team, 32-team playoff where a 6-5 Rutgers is getting in because they beat someone in week 4 that matters, I don't care how it works. I think a relegation system is actually a good idea. I know that was floated a couple of years ago, and I think at the time the word was like, you know, a top 64 teams, for example. So if we can have it be up at 80, where teams that are not, or schools that are not investing in the program or maybe just not capable of investing, and that's okay if they go down to a lower system. I don't see anything wrong with that. We've long left the world where college sports are viewed as amateur. These players are professional athletes in the sense that most of them legally now are getting paid. This is their job. Most schools don't even allow players to have jobs in the offseason anymore because they have too much responsibility with the team. So if that's how it works, go to a better school, be on a better program. If you're one of those 20, 40, 60 programs that gets relegated because you didn't win enough games, well, that's the real life. And so much of society, I feel like, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent, I promise. But, we've lost that, you came in second place. Well, you didn't win. I'm sorry. So much of it is participation stuff. Well, that's the real world. You either win or you don't. So if we get to that system, I think if it's handled properly, and I think if the right people are in charge, AKA not the NCAA, I think it could be a really good thing. It just has to be handled the right way.
Yeah, I've always wondered, because the relegation thing is fascinating to me, but good luck. I made the case of South Carolina was bad, and South Carolina, we're not leaving the SEC. Good luck getting anybody, or you mentioned you Rutgers or any of those schools at the bottom of. I guess Rutgers was okay this year, but those schools at the bottom of the Big Ten. It's good luck getting any of those schools to give up money and voluntarily go into a relegation system. But I thought this one was interesting because it essentially protects the current Power Five, and then it takes the group of 6, and it was like, well, you could play up, and if you don't play well, then you go back down. It was the best case I have seen of kind of turning college football back into regional, smaller conferences, which is where ultimately I think we're going to end up. I really do, Joel. I think at the end of all of this, the Big Ten and the SEC are both going to get so big that they're going to go into different divisions, and we're going to see a repeat of the Southwest Conference, the Pac-10, the Big 8. I think that's where ultimately we end up.
Which would be fine, because guess what? You know, I had this nightmare a couple weeks ago. I'm not even exaggerating. That Oregon finally won a national championship, and guess what happened? It was because they were in a 32-team college football world where you didn't play. You didn't have the opportunity to play 70% of the teams that exist, and it didn't really matter. And I woke up thinking, of course, that's how Oregon won a championship. Of course, it happens when you only have. Now, granted, it'd be like the top 32 teams in the country, whatever, but it just wouldn't feel the same. So I don't want to get to that point. And if it breaks off and we have different names and different conferences that don't make any sense, but there's at least, parity and the opportunity for most of the teams to be able to get in there, earn a trip to whatever the playoff looks like because they have, because they are a good team and they've won enough games, that's fine. Again, just don't give me a 32-team Big Ten, SEC, and then everyone else. That's the championship. And then don't give me 32-team playoff. Other than that, give me Saturdays in the fall. I'm to the point. I'm going full Josh Pate, where I'm like, well, if Saturdays and the occasional Friday night still feel and look the same, like, we can't control anything else. It's all going to go off the rails. Just give me that Saturday feeling at this point.
By the way, Joel, great plug. Josh Pate joins us tomorrow, 7:20 on the big show. Appreciate the plug. Didn't tell you that, but you know what? We're all simpatico. All right. Joe Gunderson, who is joining us right now as we are 10 toes down in the moment. Let's talk about spring football. Joel, I talked about this with Tyson Alger yesterday. I'm going to ask you. I have a hard time getting excited about spring football. I think maybe I'm a little bit jaded for all my years in Eugene of like, hey, this guy, great spring. And then I never see that guy ever again. Not going to name any names, but we all kind of know who we're talking about. Like, hey, this guy is lighting up spring. And then, like, we never see him play. So I have a hard time getting excited about spring football. This spring, a little bit different because anytime there's quarterback talk, new quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, new quarterback in Dante Moore, which is a fascinating situation. And then, of course, the transition into the Big Ten. But right now with spring football, like what are the things that you are kind of excited about, that you are kind of looking for and kind of diving into with regards to Oregon this spring?
Well, there's a couple things I think are very important for what's going to come out in the fall. Look, it's hard, and if you listen to any Oregon podcast anymore, they all talk about how there's the accessibility, not only from talking to players and coaches, but just from a visibility standpoint, is so low. So I think you can kind of take out the 15 practices, and when it comes time for more of the spring game, I want to see a defense that makes it very hard on the offense to move the ball, because we know that the offense has a lot of talent, probably more talent than even last year, even though they lost Troy Franklin. The receiver group is as deep as it's ever been, as talented as it's probably ever been. The offensive line is going to be fantastic. So if we're watching the spring game and we're like, man, this defensive line, even though, spring games aren't necessarily set up for them to succeed, if you can see first an explosion and transfer like Cardwell coming in and looking like, wow, that is sort of Brenden on steroids, not literally, but you know what I mean? Like if you see that where it's like, once those guys are fully unleashed, that will give you a lot of hope going into the fall. The fall, you're right, that's more where, we all remember the buzz that Royce Freeman made a week into fall camp. And even Rob Mosley, when he's doing these practice reports in the fall, is supposed to remain very, neutral. And he's even come like, boy, I'm writing about him a lot. Hint, hint, hint. You get more of that in the fall where it's sort of, definitely ramping up to where, guys are establishing positions. But spring, the other thing I want to see, and we've all watched the 5-second video on Twitter probably 100 times, is Dante Moore throwing the football.
No shirt,
The reality, no shirt, looks good, looks strong, looks healthy. The reality is Oregon's never had a 1-2 punch where not only do you feel extremely good about the backup, but there's also not necessarily any controversy because it's become so apparent that they brought in Dante Moore with the understanding of, hey, I'm going to sit, I'm going to learn, I'm going to get better. If you need me to play because of whatever, blowout, injury, God forbid, I'm there and ready to go, but I'm here to learn. Like, they're entering a situation where you have a perfect hand-in-glove fit with Dylan Gabriel to replace Bo Nix, and then you have a guy waiting in the wings who, let's face it, is more talented than anyone else in that room, just needs a little bit of experience. So when it comes to the spring game and whatever reports we can get in the next couple weeks, that's fine. But when we're sitting down that Saturday to watch, whether you're in Austin or watching it on the last time you ever have to watch a Pac-12 network, when Dante Moore is coming in and leading that his team, do you sit back and think, I kind of wish it was 2025 so we could just get this going because he looks that good? Or do you think, all right, it's obvious there. It's obvious why he was a top 10 player in the country, but I'm glad he's got a year to continue to refine himself. So if Oregon's defense takes another step, I mean, the step they took from 22 to 23 was exactly what we all hoped for, and you thought, okay, yep, this is Dan Lanning. Yeah, he can recruit, but, oh, yeah, he's also a defensive guy. And if they could take another step, it won't be as big. The leap won't be as big. But if they look even better this spring and in the fall than they did last year, and then you have that quarterback situation where it's clearly you've got two guys that are ready to go, that is exactly what I'm looking for. And then the obvious one that you want every year, no injuries, please.
Joel Gunderson from Scoop Duck joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. I want to talk about quarterback situation because you mentioned it. Either A, Dante Moore, and both of these could be true. It could be C, both of these. Either A, Dante Moore has the best head on his shoulders of any 19 or 20-year-old college football player that I've ever seen to be, like, self-aware of, like, hey, I could go anywhere and start and get paid, but I'm going to go back here where they already have a starter who's coming in and work and get better. Or B, Dan Lanning is the best salesman in the business right now that Nick Saban is off on the retirement tour. But that is a fascinating situation. Joel, if you're going to play coach for a day, and I think you and I are both in agreement, there's no two quarterback system. There is no two quarterback controversy, as you said. But I don't know, do you treat Dante Moore as a traditional backup? Do you throw in like Jonathan Smith did last year, like a package here or there where like maybe he'll get a series, especially maybe in some of the non-conference games? How do you treat a talent like Dante Moore where I don't know, I think you could actually benefit other than having him be a traditional backup quarterback?
Yeah, and that's by far their trickiest part because, if he is as talented as we all think he is and we all assume, if he comes in next year and lights it up, he's probably gone to the NFL. So from that perspective, you want to get him as many reps this year as you possibly can. Don't worry about redshirting him. I think in this day and age, redshirting is such an antiquated thing because if a guy's not playing and he's not, not happy, he's gone anyways. Yeah. You're very rare you're going to have a guy for 5-6 years anyways. So if you think, man, if we're watching him in practice and if he can get, 5 to 10 snaps most games, whether it's through a package or at the end of the game, and he's that much more ready to go. We're not going to have him in 26 anyways. If that's their thought process because of what they're seeing, absolutely. You treat him like 1A. And, I think Dylan Gabriel is smart enough, has been around the block long enough that he knows his job's not in danger if he's going out and winning games and he's going out and performing like we think he will. They're just trying to get the next guy ready. That there's no worry there, I don't think. But if the thought is, hey, they're bringing in Akili Smith Jr. in 25, well, if they, you don't want to rely on him being ready if Dante Moore is also gone, and then you've got him and Luke Moga, then you're, that's looking way down the road. But this is where they have to balance. Like, do they want him to potentially, do they think he's going to be around for 2 more years after this year, speaking of Dante? Or do they think, no, he's too talented. Once we get him out there playing a full game in our system, he's going to go to the NFL. And I'm sure that's conversations that they've been having all summer. They're having with Dante. They're having with his family. Like, they're going to go into this season with a game plan. It's not going to be a week by week where Dante's like, oh, wow, I might get to play this week. Like, they're going to know what they do. They're not going to tell us what they're going to do because why would they? They have no reason to. But you're right. I mean, that is 100%. When it comes to balancing how he does, that is the biggest factor of, And maybe Dante has said, I'm here for 2 more years after this. I want 2 years as a starter to prove where I can go. I mean, we don't know. I do think you're right. I think the question comes, is he the most mature 19-year-old we've ever met? Because he does seem to have taken this very well. And let's not pretend he came here for free, by the way. Yeah. Oregon offered him a very nice NIL package, I'm sure. So, he got out of a messy situation, but, he didn't come here. He didn't pay Oregon to come here. Let's be very clear. So it's a fascinating thing, and it's one of those frustrating things as a fan that we'll probably never know. I mean, Lanning's not going to come out and say, we're going to play him 6 snaps a game. You don't know when they'll be, but that's what it's going to be. But that's the fun of it. And, hopefully Gabriel stays healthy all year, and it can kind of just be they get to do what they feel is best and how they want, and they're not forced to play him if they're not ready.
Joel Gunderson from Scoop Duck joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Joel, last thing before we let you go, because it wouldn't be Oregon football if we didn't talk about uniforms. Last week, Oregon teased out a potential new uniform set, and they threw out a little bit of like, oh, is this a throwback style right there? So once I heard that, I said, are we going to get the 2001 throwbacks? Are we going to get the Mallard, Drake, Robo Duck throwbacks? Or are they going to bring back the diamond plate from the Holiday Bowl, the 2005 Holiday Bowl? Maybe. Hopefully they don't have the yellow helmets from the Vegas Bowl. If you could pick the throwbacks, because we've seen, obviously, the Kenny Wheaton throwbacks that I love. Those have been done. If they bring back throwbacks next year, what do we want?
By the way, I was standing atop and near the edge of the Grand Canyon when my phone got the little alert that they had sent that out. So I'm glad I didn't react too wildly. I may have gone off the edge. But it's funny you said that. We had a little text thread going. It'd be kind of funny if they just brought back 12 games of their absolute worst uniforms they've ever done and just stuck it to everybody. But I kind of think it's going to be the 2000, 98, 99, 2000, the Joey years.
Yeah.
Believe me, I have reached out to Kenny Farr to try to get some answers. I have not heard back. But just thought maybe I could, use our past friendship to see if I could get something and nothing. But they're going to be as tight-lipped as possible. That's my guess. You don't call it Generation O and then go diamond plate and wings and stuff like that. As fun as that 2017 was, those were horrible uniforms, if you ask me. I did not like them. But I would love to see an updated version of those Joey uniforms. I mean, they weren't my all-time favorite. Again, you and I, give me 94, 95. I think like the Achilles Smith, Jason Moss, 97 uniforms I thought were awesome. I really enjoyed that. I'm a big fan of green and yellow. I love the way that they connect together. If they go back to the 2001s, you obviously have a lot of darker green, yellow, lighter green, kind of a weird combo, but it worked. And a lot of fans, newer age fans, but, fans our age, really associate that with Oregon's first time of really being successful and being a brand. So I think that would, sort of pull on the heartstrings a bit of like, this is, those Joey days were so special because they had never experienced anything like it. And then you're going to have a very good team going into a new conference. All the stars align for that to sort of be the way they're going. We may be totally wrong, but if I had to guess, I think that's the route. When you name it something like that, that's where it all started, was the O. So that's my guess as well.
Man, you just got my brain working overtime about the worst uniform 12 games in a row, and boy, I could name a couple of them. Like I mentioned, Vegas Bowl comes to mind against BYU. The Lewis and Clark ones, those worst of all time, Lewis and Clark ones, and I'll stand on that one.
Yeah, so bad.
All right, you know what wasn't bad though? This segment. Joel, hey, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time, especially from what seems to be a bit of a day for you. Hopefully, hey, it gets better and brighter as we cruise on into Thursday and then into the weekend. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you again soon, bud.
Sounds good, my friend. Thank you.
There you go. Joel Gunderson, Scoop Duck. I bet Beaver fans hated those Joey Harrington uniforms. Brenden, did you hate him when you were a kid? I keep forgetting. The timeline doesn't match up. You were 3. You were 3 years old
For me, it was,
when they came out.
It was Jeremiah Masoli and company.
Yeah. I hope that.
It's like being indefinitely suspended until a game that really matters. So that's like my peak hate.
That's fair. That's fair. Was that diamond plate? Were they still wearing those? 08? I think so.
No,
they
was
moved
like
on from those, maybe?
I think they had started to figure it out because when Jeremiah was there that year in like 08, 09, they kind of started to throw back some of the uniforms a little bit. Like, I'm trying to remember like the green tops and like the white pants, but yeah. Or it wasn't even so much that, Justin. It was forever and ever when I grew up, we were equals. You guys would win at home, we'd win at home. On the years where you guys were at home, you'd be a little bit better than us. Years we were at home, be a little bit better than you. Then as I got older, that's not the case
That
anymore.
ended, yeah.
So
Ended real
yeah,
fast.
that's you want to talk about what I have resent for. It's that.
It's funny because you talk about like the uniforms, like every uniform that Oregon had that I hated usually coincides with a loss, right? Like if they would have lost to UCLA the first time they wore those eggshell, I'd be like, never again, burn them. But they beat UCLA on the road, and I'm like, they're not too shabby.
Okay, so worse.
But they're all with like losses.
So worse for you, the state of Oregon that had Cal colors.
Those are terrible.
Or the Lewis and Clarks.
The Lewis and Clark ones were bad. And I know this is a hot take. Oregon fans hate it. The ones they had against Colorado where they dressed up like the Duck.
I remember that too. Yeah.
I thought that was the dumbest
With the
idea.
webbed feet on the bottom. So the cleats were like orange, man.
We're dressing up a college football team that will look like a cartoon duck.
It was
we're really doing
I'll
this.
give them creativity
I
points.
hated that. I thought that was the dumbest idea.
So that takes your cake, is the webbed.
Again, 06 Vegas Bowl was but it was the helmets that were bad. The helmets were terrible. Anyways, we got to get to the mailbag. That's next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right. Let's wrap up the big show. Get you ready to attack your Thursday. We do that the same way each and every day with the RCM mailbag. Random questions, any subject, any topic you already know. And if you don't, well, you're about to learn. So here we go. Let's open up the mailbag.
All right, firing up the big mailbag here on a Thursday, Justin. Curious for you. You asked me a little bit about the best gift I ever received.
Mm-hmm.
You can speak in generalities if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the worst gift you think you've received?
I've told this story multiple times, and it was a thoughtful gift. I took it the worst. I believe it was, I think it was I was 8 or 9, might have even been younger. And my grandma got me a birthday gift of a very nice, and I know this now, but at the time I didn't know this, a very nice Ralph Lauren polo shirt. Now, Brenden, I lived in T-shirts when I was 8 or 9 years old. All of my T-shirts had Atlanta Braves or Chicago Bulls or Michael Jordan or not quite King Griffey Jr. yet, Dale Murray. Like that's, I was a kid that lived in sports T-shirts, and for my birthday, which I was very excited about, getting all these gifts, and Grandma Jackie sends like a church shirt, like like picture day, like a picture day shirt. I don't know. Maybe I'm not good at this, and my parents might argue with me. I think I'm pretty good at doing the, oh, hey, thanks, even if it's like not the best. I'm grateful for all gifts. That one, I couldn't hide my face. I was like, what is this? Now, again, I did not know who Ralph Lauren was or that a Ralph Lauren polo shirt is something that, come high school, I would be very appreciative of and that I would actually wear. When I was 7, I didn't get it. That was the one. Because when you're a kid, like you get clothes. Like clothes was the worst.
True. Then as you get older, you're like, clothes have been nice.
So nice.
Yeah.
Once you get like puberty and you're like, oh, girls like when you wear nice clothes. Can I have some nice clothes?
True.
That's kind of but when I'm 7, it was like, toys, please. Toys. I want toys. And I got not only clothes, but like church clothes. Like that's what I got. And so, credit to my mom. She sent it back to my grandma saying like, hey, thank you. He's never going to wear this. And my grandma then, I believe as she told the story, Grandma Jackie no longer with us, but as she told the story is that she went to a sports store for the first time ever in her life and bought me a Michael Jordan shirt.
There you go.
And I wore that. So makeup. But yeah, 7 years old. Pretty sure I was 7.
Yeah, that's
Ralph Lauren polo shirt. And I'm like, this is picture day clothes. What?
Yeah, it would be
what's going on?
It would be way easier for me to sit, because you asked me earlier what I thought my best was, and I still can't think of anything from my teenage years that like stands out. Sorry to anyone who's listening that's like, oh, I got you this when you were 14. I don't know, Justin, ever since I was like 13 or more, I just asked for money for every birthday.
Yeah.
So I just get cash, and then could
Cash is always good.
buy like an iPod back, but I'm like, I don't remember like unwrapping it. Like I just go buy it myself.
I was very lucky. My birthday is always Labor Day. So I would get for my birthday usually a combo school shoes, but nice pair of shoes. Probably where my sneaker obsession started. So I would get like a really cool pair of shoes, but they were also for school. But for a good chunk of time, yeah. Shout out Nike Outlet Oridge on it. The Nike Outlet Oridge on MLK, not the one they just closed down, but the Oridge on MLK back in like 1991 when you could get like Air Jordan 7s at the Nike Outlet. Oh, Brenden, that was the spot. All right. That's going to do it for the big show. Thanks to Joel Gunderson. Thanks to super producer Brenden. A very happy birthday to our producer right over there. And thanks to all of you. It's a Fancy Coffee Friday. Tomorrow morning, we'll talk to you then at 6:20. Rip City Radio.